Hey, Dustin. How you doing, man?
Doing great, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and visit with me here. I was kind of looking, and we've been on friends, I think, on social media for a bit, so I'm familiar with you, and I kind of know I knew what you did. I knew you were a former lawyer before you got into the current realm you are. I guess you're still technically a lawyer, you're just not practicing, right? So, I want to get into that a little bit and kind of talk about, how you made that transition. So your journey is unique from practicing law to becoming a legal marketing expert. What was the turning point that made you leave traditional law practice behind?
I was never a great lawyer and I never enjoyed it. I was a engineer while I went to law school. And the first day of law school for me, I had this Professor Ragazzo at University of Houston, civil procedure. And the first day I knew I'll never do this. I'll never do this for a living. And that feeling never left, even after I practiced the bar exam, even after I was being an attorney. And when I quit my last law job, I kind of was really fired because I just wasn't a great oil and gas attorney. And as I was driving home, I'm thinking, like, man, this is maybe my eighth or ninth career. None of them have seemed to work out. And I thought, I'm going to go home, set up my home office, and I'm gonna plant my flag here, and I'm gonna figure out how to make money doing something I enjoy for a living. And in my garage, I was deadlifting, and it's like, man, I had that dating blog in law school, and it kind of took off for a while. What if I tried blogging for attorneys, and maybe I can find a way to make money writing DWI blogs? Is actually what I started doing. And then one day I got an idea. Would someone pay me to manage their website? And it just kind of took off like that. But internet marketing always fascinated me because it's the ability to pull money out of thin air. Like, to have a thought in your head and money appears in your bank account and someone's phone rings at a law firm, from your thoughts. And that's just always fascinated me. You can't touch what I sell. You can't hold it. You can't smell it, but it changes people's lives. People can go on vacation. They can put their kids through college because of these little thoughts I have right here, and they make phones ring on the other end. And that's kind of why I left law practice and jumped into online marketing, really.
How did that dating blog work out? I mean, did you were you chronicling your dating? Were you talking about dating in general?
I went to law school during at night, and I was an engineer in Clear Lake during the day. I worked at NASA Johnson Space Center, and I got put on academic probation. And so I decided to take a part of the summer off. In the night program, you go year round. So I took like a mini mester during the summer off, and I started writing about my dating exploits in Clear Lake, Texas. And the blog kind of took off in the 3 or 4 weeks of that mini mester. And I was just writing about, well, I met this girl at Sherlock's. Sherlock's was a bar. I met this
Yeah,
girl
I
at
used to
Big
go there.
Texas. Yeah. And I would just say, not that I knew anything about dating, people just liked, like, this guy makes funny stories. And what I realized was that I was relatable. Like, people, it's not like I was a dating expert. It was like people would hear my stories and think, man, I could see myself going through that exact same thing. And sometimes in marketing, it's better to be relatable than good. It's better to be relatable than polished. That's the way of the internet. Before, when we were on television, you had to shoot a commercial, and you had to put on your suit and tie, and Marvin Zindler would have someone slick his hair back, and he tried not to stutter. Now on the internet, you just go be authentic and real and brutally honest. And sometimes it takes off more often than not.
Yeah, I think about that. Was it Andy Warhol? Who was it that said, like, in the future, everybody's going to have their 15 minutes of fame?
Think that works.
I think it was Warhol. I'm not sure, but yeah, it sure feels like that today more than it ever has. I mean, my daughter said something about me being famous. I was like, and her brother quickly corrected her. She's like, "That is not famous," but she can Google me and find all these videos of me on my line. So in her mind, she
Perfect.
equates that. So, when you first got bitten by the internet marketing bug, what was the single biggest lesson you learned that still shapes how you coach lawyers today?
Find the least crowded channel. Okay. When I started my online marketing agency, I was doing search engine optimization. And the way it worked was everybody who started a search engine optimization business, they would try to rank their own website for their keyword. Like if you were in Houston, you try to rank yourself for Houston SEO. If you were a lawyer, you would try to rank yourself for lawyer SEO or law firm marketing. Well, there were already people who were well established in the industry that I could never hope to beat as a one man show. So I said, what if instead of trying to get clients through SEO, instead of trying to rank my own website, what if I just started making videos? And everyone in this industry, they're engineering types. They're afraid to pick up a camera or a phone and just start talking. And no one wants to look stupid. But I said, what if I did that? What if I just made videos and then posted them to Facebook, posted them to YouTube, and I didn't even have to use SEO to sell SEO? And back then, that was the least crowded channel. Like that was revolutionary. Nobody thought about marketing their SEO company with videos. And so it was kind of like what they call a blue ocean strategy. And that's my whole shtick in marketing is you have to find the least crowded channel. Be first, be early. And I'm constantly looking for ways to do that for my own clients. It's like, okay, if AI is the next thing, how can we be early? If video is the next thing, how can we be first? As opposed to only people think SEO because it's the big player, it's the big elephant. But really, all of marketing is get famous, right? And your daughter said you're famous to a small group of people, and that's your market. And that's the beauty of online marketing. You don't have to get world famous. You have to get famous to a group of lawyers in Texas who practice divorce law, you know, and are on Facebook. And bam, millionaire status. You don't have to get famous. That's the beauty of the internet is you only have to get famous to those few people and there's no more middleman. You find the least crowded channel and you just go after it.
And when you say getting famous to a bunch of other lawyers, you mean for referral status so that other lawyers can refer you cases?
Yes and no. Okay, let's talk about SEO. Some maybe 600 people per month go to Google and they search for a keyword, Houston car accident lawyer. It would be great if you were one of the 10 lawyers on that page. 8,000 people a month go to Google and they search Texas Hammer, and Jim Adler and his son are the only lawyer on that page. Would you rather win that keyword or would you rather have people go look for you by name? To people in Houston, Jim Adler is famous for car accident, just the same way Mattress Mac is famous for Houston furniture. You'd rather be famous as opposed to playing the keyword game. So to your particular client, your face, your voice, your personality needs to be in front of them constantly. And you're just the lawyer in their life. You're not the lawyer in the world or Houston or Texas. But for DWI people DWI clients, they need to think Brian Asen because you don't want them going to look for Houston DWI lawyer where you can compete with 10 schmucks on page one. You want them to have been watching your videos for the last 3 years. And instead of searching DWI lawyer, they search Asen law firm. And you're the only lawyer on that page. And they don't price check you because they went looking for you. Whereas someone looking for a keyword, they're looking for the cheapest lawyer that solves this problem. So brand building is paramount. Brand building is before SEO. I wrote a blog article called SEO is for suckers. And it's true. SEO is what you do when nobody knows who you are. Let me handle that. Every waking moment, the owner of the firm should be thinking, how do I get famous? How does my name become synonymous with the service I provide? Like Mattress Mac, like Texas Hammer, like Apple computers, Elon Musk. Let me worry about what font you're going to use, what your rankings are. You need to be thinking every day of your life, will this make me famous? So that you no longer have to play SEO with the rest of the schmucks. They just go look for you by name.
No, that makes sense. I'll tell you what, case in point, about during the pandemic, because I own two domains, which I kind of use both. One is my website, icenlaw.com. But then I also have dwilawyerhouston.com, and I kind of got it and I paid for it. I mean, it wasn't free. And kind of with the idea that, well, that'll help with SEO. It really hasn't. Uh, I don't think it has. And even if you search now, DWI Lawyer Houston, I'm not the top result. I mean, I'm on the first page, but I'm not the top result. So I think in the past, if I'm not mistaken, the rule was if you did that, if you got a domain that said, big Chevy trucks, Houston, that, and that was your website, that you'd find your car dealership or like your, or whatever. But now that's not really the case anymore. Am I wrong about that? Sure seems that way.
You're right about that. That's called exact match domain or partial match domain, meaning the domain name exactly matches the keyword, like Houston Car Accident Lawyer or .com. The problem with that is that's 2010 SEO. Google can't let that be the rule because then everyone would just go buy it and the search results mean nothing. So right around 2015, Google started moving to big brands, and it's better, in my opinion, to have a branded domain like Eisen Law Firm or .com as opposed to Houston DWI Lawyer. Also, as you're backlinking, it's easier for Google to see a bunch of backlinks with the anchor text of your brand name because that looks natural versus a bunch of people backlinking to you for a keyword. That doesn't happen in real life. That only happens when you hire someone like me to fake popularity for you. And it's just an easy way for Google to see, oh, you're gaming the system. Let's de-index this website. You would always rather have a branded domain, especially if you have a unique name, like I don't know, like someone who has a unique last name. A lot of times,
Mine's pretty unique. I don't know any other Eisens. Not here.
right. Like if you were John Smith Law, how do you brand that? But you can brand Brian Eisen.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
you
In
go.
fact, I have a billboard. I have one billboard, and it just says DWI call Eisen, because I'm the only one. I'm the only Eisen. It's, short and sweet.
There you go.
And that's just, yeah, I think that's more just in support of if somebody's searching for DWIs, like a DWI lawyer, and then my name pops up, they'll be like, oh yeah, I saw his billboard. That name is familiar to me, because I think I read somewhere 8 touches is what somebody needs.
That's what I pretty much quote, 7 to
Yeah.
8.
Yeah. So that's one of my touches. I'm trying anyway.
There you go.
So for attorneys who feel uncomfortable on camera, what's your advice for showing up consistently and making video content?
The first thing I advise you to do if you're uncomfortable is utilize Facebook stories and Instagram stories just on your personal Facebook profile and your personal Instagram profile, because more than likely nobody's watching your stories yet. So just get inside of your stories with your cell phone and talk for 15 seconds about whatever you're doing. Hey, walking into the courthouse today, Harris County's remodeled this courthouse and here's the new buffet that they installed. Just like that until you get used to talking to nobody on this little box. The other thing I would say, like, that's kind of a practical thing you can do is like practice in your stories where nobody's watching anyways. Now, as a mind state thing, you want to look awkward and unpolished and nervous because that's relatable. That's always going to work better. Some people, that's their only strength. Like, don't cancel me, Brian, but I'm going to tell you that women have an easier time on the internet than men, especially if you're an attractive woman. If you're an attractive lawyer woman, you can basically pick up your cell phone and say anything about anything, and people are going to call you and ask you to be their lawyer. And you can just do that every day. You don't even have to mention practicing law. Okay, so what does Brian do? Because he's not an attractive woman. Your only superpower may be that you're awkward on camera and people can relate to you. If you watch TikTok right now, all the influencers that are blowing up, they're not the polished. Nobody watches Hollywood anymore. We're watching TikTok. We're watching some dude in his pajamas in his bed making a skit where he plays both characters in the skit and we're laughing our butt off and it's got 1 million
Those
views.
are hilarious.
Yeah. So don't worry about being polished. Everyone's bringing this Hollywood television mentality to the internet, and it just doesn't work here. The internet is authentic, raw, and a little bit awkward and embarrassing.
I 100% concur because I do a lot of talking head videos where I have the lighting just right and I edit in B-roll and I put subtitles on there. And I'm wearing a suit and tie, and then I might get a couple of hundred views. And then like you said, I'll just have a thought. I'll just be watching TV or something, and a thought will pop in my head. I'll be, oh, I'm going to share my thoughts on the internet, and I'll post a little TikTok about just some random thought I had. Like I might be working out, I might be sweaty, and like with a dirty T-shirt or whatever, and just be like, hey, yeah, I was just thinking about this, and here's something I did today, and talk for 15 seconds, and it goes viral, or at least gets way more traction than my
Yeah.
talking head videos. Yeah, man, it's I guess the more natural, the more authentic, the more maybe even vulnerable you look,
Yeah.
people can relate to that.
One more thing people need to think about is you need to develop a rhythm. You need to develop a rhythm of publishing, right? Like frequency of publish. That's the key word. Is like decide every other day I'm going to publish a video, or every day I'm going to publish a video, or whatever you can bear as far as some of these videos you might have to edit or not. You could just use your phone, but decide to yourself, I'm going to take maybe a 100-day challenge, and every day I'm going to talk on my phone and just publish it completely unedited to my Instagram feed or whatever. Once you get into that rhythm, you'll kind of start connecting the dots. Like maybe you take this 30-day or 100-day challenge, you completely stink at video for 100 days. But during that time, you learn something like, well, if I was going to go big, maybe I'd hire this company and we'd publish every other day. And actually, we don't need B roll. Maybe I don't even need an editor. Decide that there's going to be some kind of rhythm in your life of publishing video. And if you do that, you don't need to hire someone like me. You don't need a marketing agency. Think about that show, Million Dollar Listing. Like there was Million Dollar Listing New York. There was Frederick Eklund. There was, what's the other guy's name? He
I
went,
don't know, man. I only watch the Property Brothers, and that's about it.
well, if you were in New York and you're trying to sell a $50 million penthouse, you're not going to go search high net worth real estate sale. You're going to go search Frederick Eklund or the other guys that were on there. So what I'm saying is consider your video marketing. It's not a newscast. It's not a broadcast. It's a reality television show of your life as a lawyer. So maybe as you're driving to the courthouse, you talk about something. Maybe as you're leaving a mediation, you talk about how the mediation went. Maybe at night when you're working late, trying to reply to a last minute interrogatory or something, you pull out your camera and show, man, this is how miserable it is working for you guys. You want to become the lawyer in someone's life, top of mind, such that when they run into your problem, you don't know when someone's going to get in an accident or get a DWI. Not even Facebook's targeting meta can target people. So you just need to be top of mind for when that thing happens, so that instead of looking for a keyword, they go look for you by name. They're not going to know your phone number or your website. They're just going to know your name, and they're still going to pick up their keyboard and go search on that brand name of yours. So that's why this frequency of publish is important. You need to establish a rhythm of always being in someone's face.
I have a little pro tip, and it's something I do. If I cannot think of something to talk about, and I'm just hitting a wall, I'm just drawing blanks. Sometimes I'll just go to ChatGPT and be like, "Give me some ideas to talk about motor vehicle accidents. Give me some ideas to talk about, intox manslaughter or whatever," and at a minimum, give me bullet points. If I'm really drawing a blank, it'll give me a script. And
Yeah.
then you can use like one of those teleprompter apps and do that too. So that's for me, for sometimes, for somebody who just draws a blank, isn't feeling creative that day, and that happens a lot, that helps.
Yeah. ChatGPT is a good one. Go look at any of your reviews and be like, oh, I helped that guy with this third DWI, and then you can make a video about third DWI. What I do is I peruse the lawyer Facebook groups. And so that gives me a wealth of topics to talk about because people just post the problem they're having right there. An attorney could do, like, say you're a real estate lawyer, find out what groups online your particular clients hang out in. Like, I don't know how you would find where do DWI clients hang out, but you certainly could find car guys. You could go join car
Bars.
club. Yeah, you could go join bars and see what questions are being asked in those groups, whether it's Reddit or Facebook. I love Facebook groups for me, but they may be a little too old school for some of your particular clients.
Yeah, I would say my clientele, there's a lot of guys in their late 20s, early 30s,
Okay.
and Facebook might be kinda getting away. Facebook is my spot, like my speed. I'm 53, so Facebook's great for me. But yeah, I don't even think my son's even on there. He's 18.
Yeah.
So, in your experience, what are the 3 most effective marketing tactics for a law firm that's just starting out? I know we talked about video.
Okay.
What else would you include in there?
I'm glad you said just starting out because in my mind, there is a progression you need to work through. If you're just starting out, you wouldn't want to go hire some $10,000 a month marketing agency because who even knows if you can handle the volume? Who even knows if you know how to, right now, if you've never hired a marketing person, you're closing calls from friends and family, like people who
Mhm.
have already decided to call you. Who even knows if you know how to close a call from a complete stranger? That's what's going to happen when you hire a marketing agency. So, for most attorneys, what I would start with are Google local service ads. Caveat there, it won't work for personal injury attorneys because there's
No.
so much money in personal injury. But if you're a
Right.
divorce lawyer or if you're a business to consumer law who doesn't work on contingency, Google local service ads are extremely cost effective and you can just turn them on that day. Like I could have people calling a criminal or a divorce, bankruptcy lawyer that day with Google service ads. Then you get to practice on a low budget closing complete strangers who have never heard of you, who weren't in your fraternity, who weren't recommended by your aunt or uncle. Once you are making a decent amount of money with Google local service ads, I would move to video marketing like instantly, right? And once you are publishing a video per day or a video every day on your own personal social media, like not even on your law firm Instagram, but on your personal Instagram, on your personal LinkedIn, on your personal Facebook, because probably most of your friends and family don't know what you do for a living. They may know you went to law school. They're not sure what kind of law you practice. And that's how you build your referral network is you got to get in front of your friends and family every day, i.e. your personal social media, and tell them what you do and who you help and how you help them. Then that's going to build your referrals. Then once you have, say, your first 100 videos published, it's time to think about SEO and maybe even hiring a marketing agency that does videos. And then after you get SEO and your paid video going, you might be thinking about paid Facebook ads. Facebook ads still work really well for attorneys, even though people aren't on Facebook. The very last thing I would implement as far as online marketing is Google pay per click because it's just not incredibly cost effective compared to everything else I've already mentioned. Only because you may pay for a click, they go to your website, you just spent $78 for that click, 78, $80 for a Houston DWI click, and they just read an article and leave. They never call. Whereas local service ads, you only get paid when they call. And then Google's artificial intelligence reviews every call to make sure it's legit. And if it wasn't, they refund you that cost per call. So let's talk the progression one more time. If you're a lawyer just starting out, hire someone like me to do local service ads. While I'm getting your local service ads going, you're going to be making a video per day. Once you have your first 100 videos published anywhere, your YouTube, your personal LinkedIn, your personal Facebook, your personal Instagram, then you're going to think about SEO and Facebook ads. Last resort, that right there is enough to make anybody a millionaire lawyer. Last resort, you might look at pay per click on Google only because that's if you're like a personal injury lawyer. But even then, I say personal injury lawyers should just be making videos like crazy every day. If you got, say, $20,000 a month to throw at Google ad spend, then maybe think about personal injury Google pay per click ads. But a lot of attorneys who do personal injury, their whole practice is just making videos with a cell phone.
I I'll tell you, my practice area is, predominantly DWI, and it's pretty competitive. Not as competitive as, say, personal injury. Probably personal injury is probably the top one for lawyers, but I think mine is up there. DWI, there's a lot of competition. And when local services ads first came out a couple of years ago, I noticed it, and nobody else was doing it. Like nobody, like for I don't know, 6 months, nobody was doing it. And I hopped on. I got on real early, and man, I wasn't even spending that much, and my phone was blowing up. It was
Yeah.
great. But then everybody caught on, and now there's a lot more competition. It's a lot more expensive, but there was a nice little, there's a nice few months there where it was pretty awesome. It was great. It's
Yeah.
still good. It's just not as
Good
good as
way
it
to
was when I
start.
first started. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I do a little pay per click too, but it's basically for brand protection
Mhm.
because I started finding that people will search, like I'll search myself and then I'll find, Joe Schmo, attorney at law. And I'm like, I don't like that.
Right.
So I started doing the brand protection. At least when somebody searches me, my name shows up first, at least. So,
Yeah, that
um,
does not seem fair.
no,
Google kind of a little dirty for doing lawyers like that.
it's fine. I don't spend that much on it really. And it's just a little insurance. And I guess, I don't know, is that flattering if people are using you as a search term? I guess that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it does say that you're doing something right. That's actually Google identifying you as the keyword. One other tactic we didn't talk about real quick is exactly what we're doing right now. There are people, you asked me earlier, what if I'm afraid to make videos? What if I'm nervous on camera? And it can be very performative if you're just doing this, right? But you and I are just having a conversation right now and we're producing video content. And let's imagine you need to talk to someone like Tyler Flood or like, I don't know, someone big in DWI. It's a difficult phone call to call that person and say something dumb like, "Can I pick your brain?" or "Can we do lunch?" But you can easily message them on Facebook and be like, "Hey man, I'm trying to get industry leaders on my podcast. Would you come on my podcast?" And now that's like a back door to get past all the gatekeepers and you're talking to the decision maker and now that person and you are friends, now you're networking. It doesn't matter if your podcast never gets any views at all. Like that's not even the point of the podcast. A podcast is a networking tool so that now I get to talk to Brian Eisen.
Yeah.
I tell
No, agreed.
Brian,
Yeah, for sure.
right. And then when the camera goes off, it's like, "Hey, Brian, if you ever need any help marketing your firm, let me know." Or in your case, hey, if you ever need me to refer out any criminal cases, I know you handle divorce, but if you ever have any criminal cases, let me know. By the way, we're going to send you a real nice video for your website here, and now you're kind of trading chips here. You're helping someone marketing. They're going to remember you when they have a referral. You're building your network, especially if you don't have a budget. I think Riverside is like $80 a month. The software that I
I'm a
use.
higher tier. I don't even know if I pay that much. Yeah.
Yeah, and these Logitech cameras, are like 1080p or 4K, and I think you get it
4K.
for 120 bucks on Amazon. And that's it. That's your equipment. So every lawyer, regardless of budget, should be doing exactly what you're doing. You can either drive to the Galleria area in the middle of rush hour traffic to go to some smelly bar with people that couldn't possibly refer you business, or you can just sit right here in your home and this is networking too. And I think it's more effective because you can follow up with me in a month with a video. You can tag me in a reel 2 months from now. Now I'm top of mind. In a year from now, you can repost the video and tag me. Hey, Dustin, great doing this. Didn't we have a good time? And now I'm thinking, oh, EWI, Brian Eisen. So every attorney should be doing some form of video podcasting like you're doing here.
And like you said, the networking part is fun, just like chatting with people. It's super easy to do. We're doing it remote. You don't even have to leave your house either.
Right.
And easy to set up. But yeah, no, I agree. And all those reasons that you said are good reasons to podcast are kind of why I started doing it. It's a good way to meet potential referral sources. I'll tell you, Dustin, when we get off, I'm going to send you some video clips so you can Riverside FM it'll curate and it even ranks them. Like it'll say like this one's a 99 based on like where they think it'll perform or whatever. And then I'll send you like the top ones and you can, and I'll tag you too. So
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I know the whole game, brother.
I'm just learning it, but I am learning it and I'm liking it. So how do you see legal marketing evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? What should lawyers be paying attention to right now?
You know, Jeff Bezos was once asked, like, where do you see product sales going and what should we be optimizing? And he said, I focus on what isn't going to change, and that's kind of what you're asking me. With all the changes coming, where do you see the legal marketing landscape going? And what my advice is, focus on what's not going to change, and that is brand building. SEO gets less and less important every year, uh, to the point where in my agency, we barely keep track of rankings for keywords anymore. Now we keep track of brand mentions and stuff like that. Branding is not going away. It's going to be the hardest thing to fake. And eventually, when everyone on camera is AI, it's going to be the real faces, the real people that we're going to be watching. So focus on branding, brand building. And right now, it sounds like a nebulous, esoteric word, but all it means is make a small video every day and get in front of people every day. The other thing you could do is take advantage of the network effect, meaning build some kind of community. Like, wouldn't it be great if Eisen Law Firm owned a car club? People who get in car accidents own cars, people who get DWIs are driving cars. You need to own your audience in some way. So start thinking of what community can I build or lead or join that coincides with my potential clients. I built a Facebook group for lawyers. It was a no-brainer. And so I get to talk to those people every day as much as I want. So branding, brand building, which right now is just publish videos all the time and try to own your potential clients. Like try to own the audience. That's important.
I'm going to ask you one last question. To tell you what, I have to go pick a jury potentially, but
Okay.
what is the biggest mistake you see lawyers making when they try to grow their firm online?
Lawyers still believe in the middleman. I don't know why. Lawyers think that a law firm is something other than a business. They think that a law license is something other than a license to practice a business, but it's not. All you are as a lawyer, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, and there's no rules anymore. You can go, you don't have to ask anyone for permission to market. You don't have to ask anyone for permission to be great. Just get out there and tell the world that you care about them. You don't even have to be a good lawyer. I took my dad to the doctor because he had an earache. The doctor sent him home and said he needs to clean his ears. And it's like, man, I cleaned my dad's ear out because I care, because it was my dad. And I guarantee you, if that doctor's dad had walked in with an earache, he would have left with clean ears instead of some instructions. But the doctor didn't care. He may have been the best doctor in Houston, okay? But he didn't care. So he sent his patient home still hurting. I don't have a medical degree, but I healed my dad's ear, with YouTube and a syringe. What I'm trying to tell you is you don't have to be attractive. You don't even have to be a good lawyer. Just get up every day, get your phone, and show the world that you care about them. All right. And people will flock to you. People will throw money at you when they believe that you actually care.
And just to piggyback on and to give like a personal anecdote to bolster what you're saying, I will tell you that when I first started out, I felt like I did it because I had to. I did not like it. It was like pulling teeth. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And now it's just, I don't even think about it. It's a piece of cake now. At first, I hated it, but if you do it after a while, you'll stop hating it.
Absolutely.
At least that's the way it was for me. Dustin, man, we've been social media friends for kind of a long time, but this is the first time we've actually gotten to speak. I'm really grateful I got the opportunity to meet you one-on-one and talk to you in person, and the opportunity for you to tell people about what you do and your background. And hopefully we can get together again soon and hash it out again.
Absolutely. It's great talking to you. Thanks for the opportunity to be on your show, Brian.
All right, Dustin, I hope all goes well and you have a good week.
You too. See you
All
later.
right, take care.